Welcome to Mind Over Matter, where we feature young Jamaicans who are shooting for the stars. I'm your host, Margaret Boyne. Remember, if you haven't subscribed to the channel as yet, please do and hit the notification bell. This is a story of resilience. It's about facing setbacks head on and turning them into stepping stones. Today, my guest is a past student of St. Andrew High School and a recipient of a full scholarship to Bowdoin College in the United States. Welcome to Mind Over Matter, where we feature young Jamaicans who are shooting for the stars. I'm your host, Margaret Boyne. Remember, if you haven't subscribed to the channel as yet, please do and click the notification bell. This is a story of resilience. It's about facing setbacks head on and turning them into stepping stones. Today, my guest is a past student of St. Andrew High School and a recipient of a full scholarship to Bowdoin College in the United States. However, her journey wasn't a straight path to success as she faced disappointments, but refused to let this define her. My guest is Solencia Hamilton. Welcome to Mind Over Matter, Solencia.
Hello, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to talking to you, and I must say congratulations are in order.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
So how are you looking forward to this new journey?
I'm very excited because, as you said, the path to getting here was not easy, and I did have to do it twice. So now, just being finally at the finish line, I'm very excited to meet my classmates, experience Maine as well as the Bowdoin campus. I think it'll be a great time.
Tell me about when you got that news that you had actually gotten the scholarship.
So I had managed to completely forget that results were coming out though that day because my family decided to take me out and I was very nervous, which is why they decided to do that. And I remember coming home and being like, wait, what time it is? What time is it? And the results came out at 6:30 p.m. and I was home at 7:30. So I was like, oh my God, I missed the time. But by that time, I had already gotten rid of most of the anxiety and I was prepared to open it. And when I finally did it, like my mom said she had to rush from outside inside because of how much I was screaming. And then I started crying because I was like, finally it happened. But yeah, that's the story of it.
Okay, so what will you be studying?
I was studying biochemistry and anthropology.
Okay, so this love, you have a love for the sciences?
Yes, I do. I've been doing the sciences straight through from CSEC to Cape.
You're in preparation mode now to leave. When will you be leaving?
I'll be leaving sometime in mid-August.
In August. So tell us about the preparations that you have been making.
So this week was actually pre-orientation week where they met with all the international students and told us everything that we needed to have. So right now I have to deal with just thinking of an entirely new wardrobe because Maine gets very cold and I was raised in Jamaica, so obviously opposite climates. So I have to be looking into that. And then they also gave us a recommended list of dorm supplies to buy. So I've been looking into that on Amazon, different places to get what I need. The school kindly offered to help all international students get some of the materials while we're there. So that's also exciting.
So what
And
are
that's
you looking forward to the most going to Bowdoin?
the most. Well, I really like their Bowdoin Science Scholars Program. It's specific to the first generation or low income students. And it just really focuses on ensuring that students that don't necessarily have the funds to get into research still have the opportunity to. And you can do
Mm.
many different things. You can work with researchers in the US or you could go outside of the US. Basically, any program that you want to be a part of, Bowdoin will fund it and help you apply for it.
Any anxiety about, being away from your parents?
Um, there is anxiety. Sometimes I see my mom do stuff for me, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to do this for myself. And I'm thinking about it, I'm just like, no, 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 because it's finally time to, um be more present in my own life, as in take control of more things. So it is anxiety inducing, yes, especially since I can't just call my mom and she drives to me. I think along with the anxiety, there's a lot of excitement. So it's not
Right.
affects too much. Maybe in August, that'll be a different story.
Yes. Yeah, I think so too. All right. So how is your mother feeling?
Uh, so we actually talked about this 2 days ago. She came into my room and she was just sitting on my bed. She was just staring at me, and I was like, "Why? Why are you looking at me?" And she was like, "I'm gonna miss you so much when you're gone. I'm going to come and sleep in your home. I'm gonna be so sad." But she told me, despite all her sadness, she is very happy for me. And while she doesn't feel completely ready to let me go, she understands that this is what I want.
Why did you want to actually study abroad?
When I looked into UWI, they wouldn't allow me to do biochemistry and anthropology as a double major. So that was already a no for me. And then I really appreciate the liberal arts curriculum, and Bowdoin is a liberal arts college. So you don't only focus on the sciences or just one major that you choose. You do a wide range of things to meet the graduation requirements. And I find that very interesting to be able to touch into different disciplines.
You mentioned about being the second time you had applied. Tell me about that first time. What happened?
The first time, I was a college quo fellow, and I had applied to around 22 colleges, I think,
Wow.
at that time. And the first, I did the early round first, and I applied to Dartmouth College, which is similar to Bowdoin, but I was waitlisted, so I had to wait until regular decision, which is extremely anxiety inducing because all of them come out at once. So I waited and I got into three different universities: four: Drexel, Howard, University of South Florida, and Barry University. But and waitlisted at others, and some other schools told me, hey, we'll let you in if you can pay like this $80,000 tuition. I was like, oh, that's funny. But yeah, so those four were the main ones that I was looking at, but they were mainly partial scholarships. At the time, it just was not feasible for my family, especially since my mom had recently gotten surgery. So it was just like a no for me. So I decided to take a gap year. I mean, I did apply to UWI, but again, I knew I wouldn't be able to pursue what I wanted and how I wanted to at the University of the West Indies. And I mean, it's a great school, but again, just not the perfect fit for me. And so, like, despite it being uncommon, that this is something that I wanted. So I decided to take a gap year.
So how did you handle that disappointment though? I mean, when you see that, boy, you won't be able to go as you had thought that you would.
At first, I just locked myself in my room. I wasn't sure how to handle it because I was fairly confident in my capabilities of going, and I did get in, but then to be stopped by something that's just completely out of my control just really affected me mentally. So I had to take a break. I think I spent 3 days in my room and away from school, and I really had to talk to myself and be like, listen, even though it's not working out the way you want it to work out, you still have the opportunity to try again. And yes, it is disappointing, but you can't let a single moment in your life when you're 17, I was 17 at that time. No, I was 18 at that time, define your entire life. So I had a choice of being like just disappointed and giving up, or just moving forward. And so on the third day, I decided to go to my favorite restaurant, which was Teachery. And I hadn't contacted any of my friends, so they already knew that obviously something didn't go right during
Yeah.
they all found me at Teachery. I guess they spoke to my mom and they started and they talked. We cried and just reaffirmed everything I already knew, which is that I am capable of it and I should try again. And then I also had my family supporting me. So yes.
Did you have other friends who had gotten scholarships to other universities?
Yes, my friend had gotten into Drexel University and she was able to meet the difference outside of the
Mm.
scholarship. So
Mhm.
we're still very, very, very close friends to this day. And she's one of the first people I called when I got into Bowdoin this year. And the university experience, especially the first year for international students, can be very rough to navigate. And so I was with my friend through it. And yes, there were times I was like, yeah, I would love to be in that, to be doing that as well. But at the same time, I was so happy for my friend. And I knew that eventually it would happen to me. So I just took the experience as practice, learning from her, how to navigate classes, stuff like that.
Mhm. Were you an A student at St. Andrew?
Yes, yes, I was. I was an
Okay,
honor.
so the expectations were high.
Yes, the expectations were high. Well, it was difficult to talk about not being able to attend university, especially when I felt my classmates and my teachers really thought that this was possible for me. So for
Mhm.
maybe the first month, I didn't really talk to any of them about it. I mean, my teachers kind of figured something was off, especially my chemistry teacher. She pulled me aside and was like, listen, I don't know what's going on, but you're going to be fine, which
Mhm.
was also a nice affirmation to have. And after that, I decided to just be more open with it with my teachers and
Mhm.
tell them, especially because I was about to graduate. And I mean, I've known some of my teachers for 7 years, and they just reaffirmed that, yes, you can do it. Obviously, they had expectations for me, but it's not like those expectations weren't met. It's just that I'm
Mhm.
unable to pursue them.
Right, right. I've heard about these essays that you have to write, and I've heard that it's very difficult. So why you think that maybe you weren't successful in getting the full scholarship?
So for my first round, as I said, I was a college school fellow, and
Mhm.
I had someone that knew all about the college application process and gotten numerous students into different schools abroad. And I put
Mhm.
my full faith in her, and that was the right decision. But I remember there was some contention around my Common App essay. Which is a general essay that you submit to all colleges. I just felt like
Mhm.
it wasn't a full reflection on who I am. It focused a lot on like my upbringing from a low income household and stuff like that. But I feel like it didn't speak to me much outside of that and
Okay.
who I am
Mhm.
as a person. And so I wanted to change it, but when you're doing it for the first time, you're just like, oh, but this person knows so much more than me. Maybe I should just
Mhm.
just accept it. So I remember I just accepted it for the first round. I was like, okay, we can submit this essay. Um, you know so much more than me. And then for
Mhm.
the regular decision round of applications, we tweaked it a bit and I felt a bit more comfortable, but I didn't have time to like fully like let it set in about like just let it fully describe who I am as a person.
Mhm.
But for the second time around with that essay, the Common App essay, I started writing it in July and I stopped writing it in November. So many edits, and again, facing the question of whether to, follow the advice that I hear from my teachers, my advisor, or should I just follow what I truly want? And at the end, I
Mhm.
decided to follow what I wanted, and I wrote about um just my experience. I actually spoke about the difference when it comes to Creole and Standard English in Jamaica and how that just wraps into my history. And I feel like that was what pushed me to get in this year.
So tell me, what did you do during that gap year?
So I attended the MRC summer for medical school. Yes, I believe that that's the full name. And during that program, all we really did was just listen to doctors from Jamaica that are in different disciplines, describe like how they got into those disciplines, what the healthcare system is like in Jamaica, and also got some hands-on practice. And from then, like that really affirmed my decision to pursue biochemistry, because it's like I want to be able to create medicine that is beneficial to not only patients but also assist doctors in their job. And after that, I continued working on Green Thumb, which is a youth climate organization I made in 2021 with a group of friends. And we decided to switch from the type of advocacy that calls for individual people, like just regular individuals in our society, to do something like, recycling, reuse, stuff like that. I mean, that's all good, and they're all a part of climate advocacy, but we wanted to focus on entities that were affecting our climate. So we wanted to call out organizations that constantly dump oil into our harbors, or government that allows these things to happen. And also this deep sea mining activity that they decided to pursue despite multiple climate organizations. But yeah, just things like that. We decided to change up how we approached it. And I also did some tutoring. I've always been tutoring, I think from CSEC up. I did it mostly as a volunteer thing with I Aspire International. But this time I decided to do it for money because I needed money. So I did some private tutoring. I still do some work with I Aspire International. And yeah, those were the main things that I did.
All right. So these initiatives that that you started and so on, these would have been able to make your application stronger next time around?
Yes, I believe that they really did make application stronger.
So when you're applying for a scholarship, then Solencia, it isn't all about academics. Would you say it a lot about the extracurricular?
Yes, I believe that what most Jamaican students are confused by is the fact that the US is so much more different than the Jamaican school system. And so while you might apply to UE, and yeah, they do ask for extracurriculars, but we know that that's not the main point. The main point is whether you have this amount of C6, this amount of CAPE. For the US, it's completely different. Yes, the SATs may matter, depending on if you go test optional or not, but they really emphasize extracurriculars, especially leadership and choosing to do activities that really speak to who you are. So not just picking the most random one, it has to be something that's genuine. There's a space on the application to submit 10. So you can do 10 or you can do less, but your activities should really try to, round out who you are outside of academics.
Was there anything that you found helpful in moving forward, in getting out of this rut or out of the situation that you were in? What were some of the things that you think helped you during that time?
So I wrote on my wall a bit above my bed, "This too shall pass." And so for me, just reflecting on that, it helps you to realize that yes, something can go wrong, something can not go the way you want it to go, but it's just, again, a moment in your life. And I feel like, especially when you're young, like 18 or younger, then yes, like these things, these rejections and issues you face are really just blips of time that you will even laugh at when you're like 50 or even older. And so you have to learn how to navigate those, and those hold on to that. You have to extend yourself beyond that. So I feel like that quote, this too shall pass, really spoke to me. And I remember looking at it every morning. I woke up and remembering that, yes, the pain and disappointment that I feel now is very much present, but there will be a time when it isn't. There's a big difference, a massive difference to how I felt this time last year versus this year. So I feel like the saying is very true. And also, I feel like leaning on your friends for support and your family is really important.
And you mentioned family. Tell me a little about, I mean, your background, a little about your family and so on.
So I grew up in a single parent household. I live with my mom, and I previously lived with my older sister as well, but she moved away. And then I have other siblings on my dad's side, which I also love very much. I have three older siblings on my dad's side and two younger ones.
So your mother is your biggest supporter and biggest fan.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that she won't miss you too much though. Any advice you want to share about moving forward after setbacks? Leave that for other young people who might be watching the program.
I think just one general message that I want to leave is don't hold yourself back. Go after what you want vigorously and as hard as you can, no matter the disappointment that you may feel. Because I feel like a lot of times we don't realize that our doubts or past rejections really affect who we are and who we can become. So don't let this one single failure or something that someone said or you not having a certain grade, a certain extracurricular make you feel like something that you desire is out of your reach. Always go for it. You never know what can happen and what is possible. So yeah, always keep on trying.
Any tips you want to leave though for other students who might be applying for scholarships? What they should do or not do?
First off, I'd like to say just don't go online. You're going to see many students that have gone into Ivies that I am so happy for, but they've done some insane stuff. Like they've researched with someone at Oxford or Cambridge or something along those lines, and that's all fantastic. But I mean, when you're from Jamaica, those opportunities don't really come. And I feel like especially when you're a low income student, those are even harder to fund. So you're gonna feel like, oh, I must not be good enough when you compare yourself to these people that have 10 different research opportunities or extracurriculars outside of their country. No, like I got in just focusing on Jamaica and the changes I wanted to make in Jamaica. So I feel like focus on what you can do. Colleges do see that. So don't try, I mean, well, you can try to go out of the box and do something, but make sure it's feasible. Like don't break your pockets trying to do something that someone else has done online because you feel like it'll be better for you. And also, behind every acceptance is a rejection. So yes, when you see someone get into a university, any university that you like, it's like, wow, I wish I was them. But you have to realize that that comes after many, many rejections, especially when you're an international student. Your application is viewed completely different from American citizens, which is, their priority, which is their prerogative. Don't mind. But yeah, you just have to keep that in mind. And aside
Mhm.
from that, be genuine in your
Mhm.
essays. Don't, again, this goes back to not looking online. You're going to find many essays that people wrote online, and you can find some inspiration or think about how that reflects back onto you, but don't let that define how you do
Mhm.
your essays. So many applicants do that.
Mhm.
I've heard from even my admissions counselor that that's just not the right way to go. I'd say as
Mhm.
international students, take the time to really emphasize the difference, like how different you are from other applicants, especially because you come from a probably completely different culture and have different
Mhm.
experiences, and really let that show up in your application so you stand out.
You before you leave, you want to say thank you to any family member, anybody who has been with you on this journey?
There is such a long list. So when my friends and family and mentors see this, if I forgot you in a moment, please just bear with me. You know that I'm very thankful. I've said my thanks before. But from on the top of my mind right now, I have my friend group that I've had from grade 7. They know themselves. There's so many of them. There's like 7 of them. And my chemistry teacher, my biology teacher, um, Mrs. K. Price Robinson, Mrs. Jackson, Mrs. Oguntamani, and I'd also like to thank Dr. Sa, which is my mentor for my previous science program I did. My family, you know, I love you the utmost. And again, all my friends, everybody, I'm really thankful for your support.
Well, all the best, Solencio. And I will be definitely keeping in touch to see how you're doing, you know. I definitely want to know how you're settling and all of that. All right. So it was great having you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.